Well, thank you. Yes, I'm Lauriston Harden. I'm with NTIA. I'm the Senior Technology Advisor. I work both with the Innovation Fund as well as the IORS conference that I'll give a plug for at the end of the process. It's, of course, our pleasure from the NTIA to be here. We thank IDA, we thank ITRI for the process, the ability, and the giving us the room to talk. I've been to this conference, I think, every year. So many of you have heard me, so you're not going to hear a lot of me today because my job as a moderator to have other people talk. So for the first thing, I'd like to just go down the line and do quick introductions. At least two of the people have been up here a lot today, but we've got two new faces for you. So go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Hi, hello again. I'm Tim from the VST side. So actually, you can have some to introduce outside from the Vitel, and we think that we have about 5 years to enjoy with the ORAN system, and we know that ORAN is expands the network aspect, and we see that many challenges when we deploy for 5G, but many gain we can to get from deploy for the 5G. This is the reason we joined DD. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Alex Schumann again from Microcom. I look forward to talking more about deployment in our markets on this panel.
Hello, this is Troy Ju from DeepSeek. I'm a program manager for the DeepSeek. At the same time, I work as a principal investigator for the AI beamforming, one of the NTI Node 42 project, and also the program manager for the Guru. Since Tim did most of our DeepSeek introduction, I'm not going to reiterate it, but I just want to point out that we're not a RU or DU or CU vendors. We making our software, which is AI software that goes into DU and RU. So we're not competing with anyone in this room. And then we are friends with everyone in this room. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Xu Tong from Pegatron 5G. And Pegatron is one of the leading company in the world to providing the electronic design and also the manufacturing service. We are this kind of a service provider. But in our BU, 5G BU, that we covering several products to have some run solutions. That including we have our own radio unit, and also we have a CUDU platform. And also that we provide the end devices that is a CPE, dongle, and some of like a 5G IP cam. And also based on that, this time we have our own like management software. That is we call it Pegatron OSS. That it can provide some the control and the monitoring to our ORAN system, and also the devices. So this time, in this panel, later maybe we will share some how to landing some this landing Pirate 5G into the real business.
Great, thank you all. So we're deployment experience towards commercialization. The idea here is, and I think Misa-san did a very good job of telling us that it's already here. Okay, we've gone through years in Open RAN of it's coming, it's going to be great, all this stuff. No, it's already here. It's already operating. We've seen multiple systems in process. What we want to delve into today is how do you get there? What is the thought process? What are the drivers to make that choice? Then how does it happen? What are the challenges that are impacted in trying to actually deploy and commercialize Open RAN, which is, as many of you know from the telecom industry, you can deploy something, but then you have to operate it, and operating a network is a very, very big challenge. So First off, we'll start, and we got great questions here that Maggie put together, and I'll use some of them, but I'll probably come up with other stuff. So we'll start off VHT on the process of, okay, what drove you to Open RAN to begin with, as far as Viettel, and what were those things that said Open RAN makes sense for us as an operation that then VHT took over the development of?
Yes, we think that's the first time we accept with the Open RAN about maybe 5 years ago. So as you know that in the Viettel or VHT, this is we have a few telecommunication play the dual role. That means we have the board of the telecommunication operator, and we are the developer. We think that this is the very few the operator can to do this, and we think that when we assess working with the Open RAN, we can gain the adopt the Open RAN that's the more efficient and quickly we can to assess to integrator, we do the field trial, to the deployer, and get to a customer very quickly. And we do that with our system. We choose use some open white box for the hardware, and deploy for the and cooperate with some to the software open for the about the 7% feature basic, and we just focus on the 30% for the key feature and key algorithm can to improve for the ORAN system. And this is some to method from the VST for the ORAN.
Now, when you were looking at moving to ORAN, and you're looking at it from an operator standpoint, was one of the issues, how do I, because I know in what we would call traditional networks, we all know that it's hard to get new features into your network. You have to wait for the release. You have to convince your vendor that it should be in the release. Then you have to wait for the release and that sort of thing. Have you found that this allows for faster changes to the network and additional features?
So actually, we confident that because we can to do both of the lab tests for the feature, and we can to apply directly for our network with a huge field trial, and we think we can do move some to enhance inside and quickly adapt for some to improve the quality of system.
Well, that's okay. Great. And so, Alex, you guys, you've been in the more the satellite delivery business for a while, and you've moved into being a more traditional telecom operator in the process. What drove you to say, okay, it's Open RAN versus going and buying a private solution from a present vendor?
Yeah, so we're really looking for greater flexibility, cost efficiency, and eventually scalability to connect these rural communities that we work in. Now, and I guess on that, we want to be able to utilize the right best-in-class solution or equipment for each use case. Each use case is different. We want to be able to pick and choose the vendor or the solution to really bring the total package for each customer. Now, in doing that, we also want to reduce the total cost of ownership for the customer if it's a private network or a community-funded network. And one of the big key drivers in our market is the concept of tribal sovereignty or tribal ownership of the network. For a lot of our markets, or I should say for a lot of our customers, there isn't an existing provider or telecom, but for some of the larger ones there are. And for decades now, they've been tied to that solution in that community, whether it's voice-only service, whether it's extremely slow data service. We're talking kilobits per second still today in some of these communities. They've been tied to the provider, and the customer, who in our case is generally a tribal entity of some sort, native corporation, village corporation, and they're looking to own their network, or at least have a say in what the network is and decisions in how it's operated. So those are really the considerations that we're looking at in deployment. And I guess the last point is really helping to expand the networks to support telehealth, e-learning, and then public safety.
That's great. Let me ask for a little detail, just so, and we'll take Nome. I know that you're looking at Nome as a market.
Yeah.
So you've got that market where you've got what we would call traditional subscribers, but then in Alaska, there's certainly a whole lot of oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see those two different marketplaces as far as their needs and maybe their UEs or that sort of thing? How is that changing for you? And
So it's two different, for us right now, it's two different pitches. So we have the idea to deploy Open RAN networks in a community like Nome, which is it's a large, what we call a hub city in rural Alaska, where it's the village with the large hospital, with the large school district, with the general store. It's a hub city that people travel to from neighboring villages. Deploying a community-owned system, village-owned system in that type of situation would allow 5G connectivity for residents and potentially other use cases from a public network standpoint, public safety. The other side of that coin is we could take the 5G network to an enterprise where we're doing private 5G network with Open RAN architecture that allows more efficient operations, faster communication, autonomy. For us, it's two different pitches to the customer.
but it's the same equipment because you've got the flexibility then to do what
Exactly.
you need to do.
Yeah, same equipment.
Okay. Troy, I want to jump over for you for just a minute. I've got a different way to approach this. So, Chen, let's talk about your experience as far as now you are selling equipment and then integrating equipment for customers. What have you found in there that are their drivers to want to be involved in Open RAN?
Okay, so before that integration, I think to landing the private network is one of the key is that the frequency. Yeah, if that the country allow that the frequency for the private network, that will empowering the landing speed. Yeah, speed of the landing. Like in Taiwan, Japan, and also the United States, maybe later that the Thailand will release that N79. So this kind of the private network frequency that will encourage that industry to use the 5G and also the Open RAN. Yeah. And then that we can discuss about the integration. Like mentioned that for the industry vertical, there's a really different situation in different use case, right? Yeah. And for so this like highly customized use case, that flexibility is really important things. So yeah, we are the same concept. We provide the same software and the same equipment, but we have a really flexible configuration that we can to set up for the suitable configuration for the different use case. Yeah.
Now, have you found with the different use cases also, you have a full stack, but also you can accept other radios into that network as well, because it's an Open RAN network, that sort of thing. Have you found times where, or you think you'll find times where it might be other products in there as well as Pegatron in the process that you would integrate and move forward with?
Yes, so I think that is because like for the different use case, you know, like how to say, the acceptance criteria is different, and some of the performance lies is a trade-off. So you cannot use the same configuration. That's one thing. Another thing is that, like, yeah, we can toward another equipment to fulfill that the requirement of the use case. Yeah. And one trade-off performance the case is like the speed and the number of the user equipments. Yeah. If you want to like have a large of the user equipments, you can provide every users with high speed, high bandwidth. So that's some trade. So in this case, maybe you need to use a different technology or different device to support this one. Like maybe you will support like the FWA. This kind we call that is a mixed deployment. We mix another technology with Wi-Fi or something like that to cover it. Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes great. All right, Troy. So I'm gonna throw something out to you, sort of different in the process. That, okay, you guys are AI guys. Okay, and actually, as the Innovation Fund, we're very happy that you're involved both in NOFO 1 and NOFO 2 in the process. And I just do have to say, I'm sorry, it showed that you spun out of Virginia Tech, but your CEO is from Georgia Tech, just like I am. So we'll leave that out in the process. And we are also 7-0 so far. Anyway, so but Troy, when you look at this now and you look at Open RAN, what about it lends itself to supporting AI? And then I know you're working with Viettel in the process. Where do you think that what you're doing is going to greatly enable the deployments of Open RAN in the process?
I just want to point out that I went to Georgia Tech too. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Okay, there we go.
So I think a great potential for the AI in RAN, not just the RAN, Open RAN or any kind of traditional RAN, is that once we build the foundation work, which means that we've been working very hard to implement our AI software into DU. Now we are working on also the RU. Once we have a good software implemented, all we need is the data to customize for the different performance for the different use cases. For example, Viettel gives us a clear target to improve extreme cell edge performance and also the UL interference mitigation without any kind of multi-cell coordination. That's very challenging, but at the same time, we work with HTC, we also work with Pegatron, we also work with HFR from Korea. They give us a completely different requirement. They don't worry about the cell edge. They want to maximize their throughput, especially for the 2UL layer with the higher QAM type of allocation. Those are two different problems, but we actually using same software, just the different train data. So I think that's the greatest potential for the AI in the RAN, is that once we have a good foundation software, our performance can be tailored into the use case required by the customer.
I'm going to go, just keep your microphone, because I'm going to go off script right here. And because we've heard earlier today a couple of times the concept of what we have called inside of NTA the concept of a data lake. The idea that we need data, whether we need data to train AI or other sort of purposes of what we need data for. So I'd love to hear what you think about how we can approach that issue of gathering the data that we need, and I'd love for other people to talk into that, because it's a matter of, we all know that well, first off, there's two things. Operators don't like to share their data because, as I say, it's confidential and it can lead you to understand how the other part of it, quite frankly, is many times they don't have all the data because their vendors haven't given them all the CMP and FM that's available in the network. So I'd be interested in what you think about how do we get to that point where we've got consistent data that can operate, we can use to operate a network and train AI in the process. I know you weren't expecting this, so.
Give us a more project and we'll solve the problem. So I'm going to point out that we are about to come up with a solid evaluation and validation of an 041 project, which is not just collecting and using existing data, actually generating the data we wanted. That's a whole different concept. And then when we talk about, obviously if I come from the operator, they do not want to share their data with anyone because, there's a competition, their data can be used against them. So what we're looking into is, once again, once we build a good foundation software and then provide to the customer, our customer can retrain with their data. We don't have to be involved. So, I think we can solve their problem, but, with more project, then obviously we can solve much faster than.
Yeah, exactly. So anybody else want to comment on this data question before we go back to the other questions that, you actually expected me to ask? Okay, I'll leave that one alone, but I think this is a challenge for the industry that at some point will have to be addressed in some manner. So we'll just leave that there for now. So let's talk for a minute about lessons learned from integrations. And we'll start down at the end here with you this time. What are the things that you think this audience needs to hear about how integrations have gone so far in Open RAN? What are the things they should be learning from you?
Okay, so yeah, the integration is a really important thing that in the private network, and that is a big challenge. But because Victor, we started our business from 5 years ago, and from now we have some internal SOP, and we feel that the customer interview is really important before that you deployment or to deploy your network to customer side. Yeah, because to know the real pain point, and also another big challenge we face is that how to combine or collaborate with existing operation operation technology, or also the IT. We say OT and IT. Yeah, because that sometimes we will say, if you want to lead a business to be successful, you need to deal with the IT guy. I think that. Yeah. So the interview before that before you do anything, that we think is important. And after that, you will know which key factor is that this customer they care about, and then we can do the right configuration for them. And also, if not something, because for the integration, maybe we cannot fulfill every requirement. For now, we were looking for partners, like here, yeah. Yeah, the SI and also operator, yeah, something. Yeah, also the AI engine provider, yeah. Okay.
I'm going to jump over to you and to see if you got something you want to add in that area.
So in our case, as you know that we got pay on from the telecommunication operator, and we missed and we use the before time we use some to the Taiwan operator. We already some to the deploy, and we can see the some the what is strongest, what is the key point for of the operator with the voice with the point out that's one the network good or not, and we apply this for our development. And told that, as you know, that's when we compatible between Taiwan tier one the operator, we had to quickly to approve and point out the problem when we deploy the system. And after that, some case we because of some of the Taiwan not say anything like that, they optimize the system, and we can to cooperate with some of the other team in the ecosystem and find out what is exactly the problem and apply again with our case. And this is the reason we in one year we can to apply successfully from the macro side maximum for our system from the 2024 to here. Wow. With the 2,000 base station.
That's a lot. That's impressive.
Thank you.
So Alex, you've like I said, you come from the satellite world into this and everything. What have you found is the challenges you've encountered so far, and also what are you worried about? What are the things you think are going to scare you?
So one of the things that we're concerned about or would like to see is that the equipment really needs to be adaptable. The ideal install scenario is rarely available. There's rarely 60-foot towers with clear line of sight in these communities that we work in. There's some of the communities, most communities don't have towers at all, so you're looking at installing the equipment on the tallest building in the community, whether that's the school or the village office, city office. Maybe there's a decommissioned structure from years ago where you can install equipment and get some elevation. But the terrain varies considerably. There are areas where there's no trees, and there's other areas where there's dense forests. So every installation is going to be different, and the equipment needs to be able to be configured a little differently in every case. Now, and I guess on that, the performance. So in interior Alaska, it's going to be warmer than plus 40 in the summer, and it's going to be colder than negative 40 in the winter. So there's extreme variations in climate that the equipment has to be able to handle. On the west coast of Alaska, equipment like this that's outside is going to become completely encased in ice for many months. So it's got to be durable. And then operationally, I think to some extent it needs to be as simple as possible. We're not going to have technicians in every single village. We're going to rely on local expertise. We're going to have to train locals to be able to work on these systems. And to that end, it has to be simple. There might only be one or two individuals in the community that even have any type of technical knowledge, that might be an exaggeration. It might not be anybody, and we have to be able to walk them through how troubleshoot over the phone, or send them some kind of documentation that they can follow and actually perform the troubleshooting steps, because it's just too expensive to fly technicians to some of these locations. So, and then I guess off of that is remote management. There needs to be some kind of easy remote management piece that we're able to utilize and access to help in these troubleshooting scenarios.
That makes a lot of sense, and I'll just say that I talked with some of my friends at MTI when they were going to be partnering with you, and explained to them how cold Alaska gets in the winter, and being from here, I don't know that they fully understand what minus 40 degrees feels like. I have been there. It's terrible. So, but you bring up a point, and this is, once again, going a little bit off script, but it's still with deployment, is deploying also includes integration into the existing management framework, whatever is in the network, or finding a way, whether you're, in many cases, especially a legacy network, you're not adding your own, you're not building SMO, you've got to do something else to integrate with the managed frameworks there. So I'd be interested to know how you've seen that, and we'll start with Viettel, because you had your own OSS before you started this process. How do you see that?
For the actually this question, because before deploy the system, we do the very secure in our lab, and many the scenario we do in our lab, and as you know, that's we do the both of the DU and CU side, and many scenario can do in our lab. And when we contact with the other team, because the other team relates to the network, because we are the VST is focused on the development, and they suggest the customer and feedback and give us some to the what is the complete for the actual deployment, and we have one solution that we have two sides, but do together, and when together, that's the we can do minimum for the distance from the lab to the deployment in the future and the actual test, and finally, that's the some success with outside to focus on just we apply some to AI solution, suggested the methodology, some to the other team together, and together with the traditional the process, and from this we improve our system.
Oh, okay. Now, does Pegatron have their own SMO in the process now, or how are you integrating with managed frameworks that already exist within a network?
Okay, yeah, it's yeah, we did our lab self verification as well, but also that we find out cooperate with like a third party validation center like some lab or tip lab, yeah, and also that we cooperate with like local operators like Zhonghua, Finet, FET, and also Taiwan Mobile. Yeah, they all have their lab. Right. So, and also that because in Taiwan we also have a government to support this kind of the test to encourage that Taiwan BBU or CUDU vendor to grow up, so that we will join the testing with local operators. After that, we will have some projects to deploy in the POC in the field side, and like in different vertical. Like Pegatron, we have experience in hospital, healthcare, and also factory and petrochemical parks and something like that. Yeah, and also just mentioned by others, this like if you want to convince your customer that your product is really reliable, that since it's trying your field first. So we deploy in our own products in our Pegatron own factory in Batam. This is really biggest, really is a large factory. It's around 80,000 square meters and covering over 1,500 devices. And actually, that we cooperate with Victel that in Vietnam. Yeah, it's also our factory. So from a lab and also some government policy to support, and also do it our field side and then to customer. It's our strategy and how we verify our own product. Yeah.
Okay. Troy, let me ask about when you, so in the management system, MS, whatever it is, you're looking for visibility into the network and how the network is operating. Now we're adding AI algorithms into that at different places. How do you see that? How do you see that operating as far as visibility back up to the operator to be able to? Because the problem that scares me, I'll be very blunt, is I'm going to have a bunch of AI algorithms running my network. They're all running on different loops at different times in different places, and the network breaks. How do I know what broke? So how do you see, as I implement AI/ML in my network, how do you see it flowing back up through my management framework so that I understand what it's doing?
That's a very difficult question.
Sorry about that. It wasn't on your script, but
Since we focus on the physical layer so far, we haven't really thought out our plan. But there is a good initiative that we are taking. So one of our experience working with the layer one, we've been working with a very mature, restricted source, only working on certain CPU, only working on certain hardware accelerator, only working on certain GPU. But what if that we have a software, entire WAN stack running on any without any restriction on hardware? Then our software can be agnostic to any computing platform. Then not only we have access to the physical layer data, we have a lot of data that we can access to it. Mm-hmm. I think we can have a much higher contribution from our AI technology to that aspect. But right now, we don't have that. So we've been not doing much, but hopefully in near future, hopefully we talk about what are the near future that DeepSeek is focusing upon. Even though we don't have a solution or answer for that, I think we have a path forward to improving that challenge.
All right, now you're moving us towards the AI native architecture, which is certainly dear to my heart. So we've just got a few minutes left, and so I'm just going to go from Jen through and say, okay, if you had a magic wand and you changed something about the ecosystem that would make the adoption of Open RAN faster, easier, what would it be? What would you want that's not presently in the ecosystem that you're dealing with?
So this is the difficult question with. So actually, with our ecosystem to usage the outside slide, that's the We deploy and product about more than 80% inside the infrastructure, from the core network to the switch network and Chan post block and run system. So for the scalability, right? With the okay to work when the actual the operator we just because some to the quality related on the scalability and the cost of system very strict when we deploy with the high volume. And if we want to make the market, we should some to include more than the efficient and more than the equipment with the low cost. And we buy on our lab set with our system and compare with the other vendor. And we can to reduce the time with the timeline to test. So we increase and include everyone and try test in our system. And with our ecosystem, many the failure in our side. So, but we can to quickly adapt it, and our engineer can to find out this very quickly. If with the normally the telecom operator, the time very long, but with us just 1 second. Okay, okay.
If you had your magic wand, what would it be?
Yeah, it's a difficult question. I think, you know, we have to start. We have to start at the basics and take a phased approach. We need to bring, you know, connectivity, whether from a more simple standpoint, whether that's, you know, mobile or fixed connectivity. We have to provide the solution, and then from there expand out what's possible. There are a lot of different possibilities with Open RAN and 5G, and I don't think customers really understand what those possibilities are, and they're not going to until we bring a demo to them, show them the environment, provide some simple solutions like fixed or mobile connectivity, and then you know, bring them into the ecosystem and expand their knowledge from there. You know, we have to partner with vendors. We need to become experts, and we need to allow our customers to become experts on the technology, so they can use it and operate it themselves. And then, you know, over time, that's going to develop into an Open RAN network that we hope to bring statewide in Alaska and support both public and private needs.
That's great. So simple is better at first in the process. I mean, there's certainly been talk as we move from 5G to 6G. There's been talk about how do we make these standards simpler, not hard, not more complex. So the same thing is true here. So outside of having GPUs everywhere in the world, Troy, what would you want in the process if you had a magic wand?
I have to give you very biased answer for that. Everything has to be open source. It's not just an open interface. If you have a truly good foundation of WAN that can be accessed through the simple open source license, imagine, for example, TN's team is brilliant. You have about 20, 30 team. they have to work on the 4G, they have to work on the 5G. Every time the 3GPP ORAN specification release, they have to add on to it, they have to test it, make it stable, and then they have to solve their own problem, which is coming from the VTL, improving specific use cases. But if you have a good foundation of open source CUDU, you don't need to replicate all those capability building from different company. You could just collectively acquire those capability and then just work on the very specific solving problem they need to solve. So, you know, we truly believe that once you have a good foundation open source CUDU, then it's going to be a lot better than just having open interface to make a much more what is required for any customers to deploy the network and then operate the network and then optimize the network.
That's good, and I'll let Tom know you were speaking very strongly for Okudu in this process. Yeah, you've got the last one. What do you think, if you had a magic wand, what would you change to promote Open RAN development?
Okay, so that I will say that to Open RAN, we want the open is like we want its flexibility, yeah. But when we have flexibility, it brings that complex, yeah, to your system. So that I will say, if we want to promote the Open RAN, we need to form a team that cover the different parts to fulfill that customer's requirement. It means it's not only for the network, but also that maybe the application for the vertical. And if you have a partner with this kind of application provider, that you will know more how to configure your network for the niche, maybe some specific vertical for that. So I would say that in 5G open, it's like open source. The idea is the same. It's a teamwork. So we will collect everyone's imagination or creativity to make the Open RAN better. So yeah, if yeah, we can have a big team, and then to push this one Open RAN, that would be better. Yeah.
That's great, and you mentioned near the start too. It's getting the customer feedback. It's defining the network before you start building the network, and I think that's key in the process, because we have Open RAN has a lot of options. Okay, let's see if we can get that defined up front, so that the expectations are met, but you don't have things there that you don't need in the process. So hopefully you've gotten some good feedback on how we see deployments going, where they're going, both public and private in the process. And so that's the end of our panel. I'd like to ask for applause for our panel members for being here. You're done.